Live from Sydney, 7 News with Sally Bowrey.
Good afternoon. We begin with a heartbreaking story. A pregnant woman from New South Wales has lost her baby after she was unable to enter Queensland for emergency treatment. She was carrying twins when her condition took a dramatic turn, causing her to lose one of her children. Chris Reason has more. Chris, a tragic story. What happened?
Good afternoon. Well, Ballina couple Scott and Kimberly Brown were told that their unborn twins needed medical assistance urgently. The nearest and best option for them was a Brisbane hospital. Instead, they ended up here in Sydney at the RPA, and today the family revealed the sad news that one of those twins did not make it. 2 weeks ago, the couple were reportedly told they couldn't cross the border into Queensland, so instead they were forced to wait some 16 hours for a Royal Flying Doctor Service plane to collect them at Lismore and then fly them here to Sydney. The twin girls were suffering from what's called TTTS, twin-to-twin transfusion syndrome, and they needed an operation. Kim's social media post said at first it had gone well, calling it an absolute rollercoaster ride that looked to be a success. Well, sadly, this morning, Kim's dad, Alan, revealed that one of the twins had passed away.
It's busted our family apart. They're very, very, very upset, especially the ones in Queensland because they can't come and see her. They're very close. Words can't put together what we feel.
My heart breaks for you. My heart just breaks for you.
The case has now attracted the attention of the Prime Minister, and of course Queensland Premier Anastasia Palaszczuk was asked about it this morning, with 7 News being told that Queensland Health never received any official transfer request from the couple or their medical team, and that either way an emergency case would have been allowed border access instantly.
We are very, very compassionate in this state, and as Dr Young said very clearly, if there is someone that needs emergency care, if they need, a helicopter to fly them to one of our hospitals, that will happen.
The family now saying, though, that they don't want to initiate any blame game at this time. All their thoughts and prayers are with Scott, Kim and their unborn daughter. Back to you.
The CBD coronavirus cluster has surged yet again, growing by 6 as the state records another 13 cases. Health officials are now desperately trying to track down close contacts to stop the virus spreading further. Miley Hogan has more. Miley, an Eastern Suburbs school is the latest to be implicated in the cluster.
Good afternoon, that's right. Parents and guardians were told to come down early and pick their children up from Double Bay Public School after a staff member tested positive for COVID-19. Another school was shut down early too, Homebush Public School, after a childcare worker tested positive for the illness. Naturally, parents were a little confused and also concerned about getting their children out of that school. With warm weather forecast this weekend, health authorities are treating it as a test run for summer. They do not want to see packed parks and beaches. There will be extra police patrols, lifeguards and council rangers out in those public spaces, making sure that people are following public health orders.
It's pretty simple. The message is 20 people inside a home or 20 people outside in a gathering. Anything more than that is a contravention of the public health order and expect to have action taken against you.
It comes as authorities race to contain an outbreak in the CBD, a cluster linked to the City Tattersalls Club. Overnight, another 6 cases were diagnosed linked to that venue, bringing the total cluster there to 14. Altogether, there are 13 new cases across the state. As mentioned, the main cluster of concern is in the CBD. Strong messaging today from the Premier and the Chief Health Officer around urging people to come forward and get a test. It follows data that has revealed almost half of people who acquired COVID in Sydney waited for 3 days after developing symptoms before getting a test. The Premier saying it is that exact behaviour that is helping COVID spread.
Thank you, Miley. The Prime Minister has ramped up pressure on the states to reopen their borders before Christmas. Scott Morrison says he's hopeful Australians will be able to travel freely across the country in coming months. Live to Olivia Leeming in Canberra. Hello to you, Olivia. Is this border battle likely to be resolved?
Well, Sal, Scott Morrison has made some of his strongest comments yet in pleading with all states and territories to reopen or wreak havoc on the economy, making headway with some premiers, though others are digging in their heels.
A warning to the premiers.
The idea that we're going to live with domestic borders until there's a vaccine is a recipe for economic ruin.
Scott Morrison insists the border closures must end,
Agreed.
keeping Australians from working, he says, limiting access to healthcare and stopping farmers accessing their land.
We have to understand that when you do that, that costs jobs.
Declaring he'll introduce a Commonwealth definition of a coronavirus hotspot that he'll urge the states to adopt to better manage the borders and resume domestic travel before Christmas.
Look, I believe we can.
With talks progressing on a partial reopening of the New South Wales-Victorian border.
We continue to be in conversation with the New South Wales government.
With the prospect of easing restrictions towards the end of next week.
And possibly similar easings for Victorians living close to South Australia.
I'm more than happy to take up their cause.
But the Queensland government is standing firm. Its borders closed to Victoria, New South Wales and the ACT until there's no community transmission.
Our borders are keeping Queenslanders safe.
Now, the Prime Minister is less optimistic about reopening international borders before next year, though hoping that talks can soon resume over a travel bubble between Australia and New Zealand, possibly also with Pacific Island nations, with interest too from Japan and Singapore. Sal?
OK, thanks for that. Olivia Leeming there for us this afternoon. 3 people are dead, including a little boy crushed by a tree while out for a walk with his dad in Melbourne. The city was smashed by a monster storm yesterday, with the damage so bad residents have been told their tap water is undrinkable. Live to Blake Johnson, who's in Melbourne this afternoon. Hello to you, Blake. There is a lot of work to be done before residents can even return home.
Yes, Al, this street in Belgrave in Melbourne's east is not just a mess, but it's inaccessible. We've got smashed cars and fallen trees almost the length of this street. The State Emergency Service has recorded almost 3,000 calls, many in Melbourne's east and Melbourne's north. This street alone had 3 people who were trapped inside their homes and needed rescuing. Unfortunately, the lives of 3 families have changed forever as a result of this storm. A little boy, just 4 years old, his name Ayan, was out for a walk with his sister and his dad. They were hit by a falling tree and Ayan was killed. A 59-year-old man was crushed to death in his car pulling out of a shopping centre car park, and a 36-year-old woman killed when a tree hit her ute. Winds of more than 100 kilometres an hour were recorded over a roughly 2-hour period across the city, but it was the intense burst that did so much damage. It didn't last quite so long. The biggest issue, 2,000...
Just happened suddenly. We can't even...
Who's picking up?
So we're gonna miss him so much.
The Jeep owner of this Jeep bought the car yesterday. Unfortunately, it's a write-off. He summed it up by saying 2020, what a year. Sal?
Gosh, a lot of damage. OK, thanks very much, Blake Johnson, reporting for us there. We have some breaking news this afternoon. Japanese leader Shinzo Abe has flagged his intention to step down from his role as Prime Minister. Details are still coming in, but Japanese media is reporting the move is in relation to Mr Abe's health. Donald Trump has delivered his pitch for re-election, slamming Joe Biden, telling Americans only he can keep them safe. It was a speech which culminated in a dazzling fireworks display. Ashley Mullaney is in Washington, D.C. Hello to you, Ash. What did he say?
Good afternoon. Donald Trump capped off the final night of the Republican convention with an unprecedented speech here on the White House grounds. His pitch to American voters, the best is yet to come. Speaking from the South Lawn of the White House, the president painted a picture of an America at a crossroads, lobbing insults at Joe Biden and the Democrats. Addressing a crowd of hundreds, most not wearing masks, as protesters gathered outside the White House grounds. Donald Trump painted himself as the law and order president, referencing the unrest in Kenosha and claiming citizens won't be safe in Joe Biden's America.
This election will decide whether we save the American dream or whether we allow a socialist agenda to demolish our cherished destiny. Joe Biden is not a savior of America's soul. He is the destroyer of America's jobs, and if given the chance, he will be the destroyer of American greatness.
The president was joined by the first family, daughter Ivanka, introducing him, defending her father's track record and contentious tweets.
Tonight, I stand before you as the proud daughter of the people's president. Whether you agree with him or not, You always know where he stands. I recognize that my dad's communication style is not to everyone's taste, and I know that his tweets can feel a bit unfiltered. But the results speak for themselves.
Among the other speakers was the President's personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani, and UFC President Dana White. But it was Donald Trump speaking for over an hour who was the star of the show, ending the night with a made-for-TV moment with fireworks over the Washington Monument. A campaign in full swing, a president making the most of his home ground advantage.
Meteorologist David Brown joins us now. Good afternoon to you, Brownie. What's happening on the weather front?
Yeah, good afternoon, Sally. Well, as you can see, it's another stunning day in our city, although rather cool in the southerly breeze. In fact, at the moment, you'll notice it's 19 degrees, feels like 14 degrees. The thing that stands out, though, is barometric pressure is rising. The air is dry, so the atmosphere and the winds continue to stabilise. For the state, it's been sunny throughout. Winds essentially light and variable throughout the interior underneath this high that's slowly drifting our way. In fact, that high will dominate our weather for a number of days, if not weeks. In fact, have a look at our forecast here for the next 7 days. Our model paints little, if any, rain in our state, and you'll notice not a drop is expected in our backyard. Now, tomorrow, more sunshine is expected for your Saturday. The only difference this time, instead of a southerly wind, it'll be out of the north, so it'll feel a little bit warmer. Currently, well, it's 19 degrees in Penrith. Parramatta sitting on 18 degrees. Up the coast at Gossip, we've got 17, of course. Detailed weekend weather, top of the hour, Sally.
All right, thanks, Brownie. See you then. Still to come in Sydney's afternoon news on 7, it's the dark side of the ski season. Police smash a drug ring operating in the snowy mountains. Dramatic arrest, officers swoop on an alleged assassin who executed a ruthless bikie boss. What caused this chemical plant to explode into flames? And still to come, a shocking act of road rage in Macquarie Park. This man says the truck driver tried to slash his throat. Details soon.
Hear that? It's the sound of your new escape. Visit the most relaxing new Getaways.
It's beautiful.
Find the lifestyle you've always dreamt of.
I can see myself here at home.
Here's to you and your new life.
New Escape to the Country. Tonight on 7/2.
Stay healthy by staying informed and start the journey towards feeling your best with NIB. From tips to mentally recharge, to workouts at home, deliciously easy recipes, and how to access important health services. The Checkup is NIB's online content hub created by industry experts, full of ideas and inspiration for healthy living, and it's available to all Australians. Search NIB's The Checkup today. It's worth it.
What if you're missing information about meningococcal disease, a rare but potentially deadly and devastating illness, most common in infants and adolescents? Speak to your doctor for more information about meningococcal disease, because missing information could mean missing out on a whole lot more.
Tonight, I'll be eating lamb gyros with extra tzatziki.
I told you I didn't want to play netball.
Until someone ruptures your spleen, I don't want to hear about it, Kim.
With Belong, you get 10 gigs of mobile data for $25 a month. That's 10 gigs of family time, plus unlimited international calls and texts to selected countries for $5 extra. Together, we're different. Belong.
Hey, Ma, Father's Day's coming up. What are you going to get him? A trip to Mars. One way.
Mom.
Well, I have something better. Step 1, underwear. They make them in my size now to match with Dad's. Father and son matching underwear? Wow! Get them at step1.life. Matchy, matchy.
Maybe we could find ways to call time out on our kids' busy routines before they get sick. But if they do, Children's Panadol can start to reduce fever in just 15 minutes. Together, let's rethink care.
Legendary Father's Day deals are now on at Barbecues Galore. Like this stainless steel hooded 5-burner Barbie, now $349, save $150. Or the award-winning Ziggy, now $249. Plus, gift packs under $30. Barbecues Galore. Now you're cooking.
80 years on from the Battle of Britain, bring the Spitfire to life with this unique new model. Follow clear instructions and build the legendary plane with simulated flight motion, lights and sound. The Spitfire Mark 1A, issue 1, just $4.99.
Aw, how good is that RSPCA pet insurance feeling?
knowing you can get up to 80% of your eligible vet bills reimbursed and can claim up to $20,000 a year with no excess to pay. With 4 affordable levels of award-winning cover to choose from and a portion of your first year's premium helping support the RSPCA, why not experience that RSPCA pet insurance feeling today? Call 138 548 or search RSPCA Pet Insurance now.
Special occasions should be celebrated, but Tim suffers heartburn and Tom suffers indigestion, so they use Gaviscon Dual Action tablets, which neutralise stomach acid and form a protective barrier that blocks acid reflux. Try Gaviscon Dual Action.
You are inverted. The world is not. Don't worry about things falling as much as rising.
You're watching 7's 4 p.m. Sydney News, and this is the view from Campbelltown. Right now, it's 18 degrees. Almost a dozen people have been arrested with the police smashing a drug ring syndicate in the Snowy Mountains. 6 men and 4 women have been charged over their alleged roles in the distribution of ice in the region. Detectives say the arrests will have a major impact on drug supply throughout the Snowy Mountains and Queanbeyan regions. Police have made a breakthrough arrest over the execution-style murder of the president of a bikie gang. Andrew Denny has more. Andrew, 2 people were arrested in Dubbo this morning.
Well, 7 months ago, local bikie boss Shane DeBritt was shot in the head in an execution-style killing, and this morning, police from the homicide squad made a breakthrough arrest. Tactical officers arriving at dawn, arresting 58-year-old Noel Heap and 39-year-old Trent Struick at a remote property outside Wellington in the New South Wales Central West. The pair were taken back to Dubbo to be charged over the murder, seemingly unhappy with the attention.
Is there anything you want to say to Shane DeBritt's family?
60-year-old Shane DeBritt was the local chapter president of the Banditos outlaw motorcycle gang, and police allege he was killed in a feud with another criminal group. Police have brought in divers and sniffer dogs to comb the 100-acre property, looking for any evidence that may link the pair to this crime. They haven't ruled out making further arrests.
I think other people that are involved should be nervous and they should be looking over their shoulder, because we're following not far behind.
Now, the search for further evidence, including a possible murder weapon, has been going all day and is likely to continue well into the weekend.
A major factory fire has triggered health warnings in Louisiana in the US. The plant, which produces chlorine, caught fire as Hurricane Laura barreled through. Thick black smoke billowed from the plant. Residents were told to stay indoors and keep their windows closed, with chlorine extremely damaging to the lungs. Workers had to evacuate the factory ahead of the storm, so nobody was inside at the time. We'll have more details on the aftermath of the hurricane later in the program. Firefighters in Russia are battling to control huge bushfires spreading through parts of the country's east. Authorities say the latest blaze was sparked by an accident at a power station. Residents in nearby towns were evacuated on government buses. Strong winds and a long-running heat wave are making conditions difficult for firefighters. Next in 7's afternoon news, the Christchurch killer gets his last glimpse of the outside world before being locked away for good. The party's over. Schoolies cancel. See why. And in sport with Matt Shervington, Latrell limps into Redfern Oval after a bittersweet night for the Bunnies.
Tonight on 7 News with Michael Usher.
Border delays blamed for the death of an unborn baby. Violent scenes at a Sydney service station. And the moment a plane passenger discovered he's infected.
Tonight on 7 News at 6.
In 2 days, the World Cup of cooking. Over 3 epic weeks. Plate of Origin starts Sunday at 7 on 7.
This winter, cut your cold and flu short with Easycold and reduce the severity of symptoms. Shorten your cold and get better quicker with Easycold.
Today's pace can take a toll. It's why we developed Panadol Rapid, absorbed 2 times faster than regular Panadol tablets, and why every positive change can make a difference. Together, let's rethink care.
It's Australian to stick together through ups and downs. It's super to know that Australia's largest super fund is investing for you like no other fund can. It's yours, your money for your future with Australian Super.
Vodafone is for all you rulers. We get you, stream queens, and you, kings of connection. And you, your majesties of working from home. We're for you, supreme providers of screen time. And definitely you, the rejectors of contracts. It's your rules, your network, and Vodafone is at your command. You rule with Vodafone.
Red Rock Deli. Discover a world of deliciousness.
Oh wow, that's a low price. What? It's a low price.
You think we need $100 price?
Low price.
Good price.
Low price.
Oh, that's a low price.
That's what I said.
What?
Hey, Ma, Father's Day's coming up. What are you going to get him? A trip to Mars. One way. Mom. Well, I have something better. Step 1, underwear. They make them in my size now to match with Dad's. Father and son matching underwear? Wow! Get them at step1.life. Matchy, matchy.
Don't let persistent joint and back pain stop you there. You've got Advil 12 Hour for fast and long-lasting relief of persistent pain for up to 12 hours with just one tablet. So you can do more for longer. Advil 12 Hour.
Here's Lisa. She got no assistance lifting this heavy bag of cement and sprang a leak. But Lisa has Poise. New Poise Thin and Discreet Extra Pads are 45% thinner than Poise Extra Pads with the same protection. It takes Poise.
You got to stop renting, son. When your mum and I got our first place, I went straight to the bank. I said, if you don't give me a loan on the spot, I'll walk. Oh, no, mistake, bad mistake. You've got to play hardball, son. It's the only way.
There are other ways.
With an Aussie broker, you can find the right home loan with access to more than 3,000 products from over 20 lenders. Go straight to Aussie.
The Christchurch killer has experienced his final moments in the outside world before beginning his life sentence without parole. Brenton Tarrant was flanked by police as he boarded an Air Force Hercules at Christchurch. He was then flown to Auckland, where he'll spend the rest of his natural life behind bars. Scott Morrison has confirmed he's spoken with New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern about the Australian terrorist, but confirmed there's been no request to have him extradited to serve out his sentence here. Time for sport now with Matt Shervington. And Matt, it was a very unlucky night for Latrell Mitchell.
It was, Sal, and he was showing some really good form as well. South Sydney are waiting for scans to show how long they'll be without superstar Latrell Mitchell. Latrell limped into Redfern Oval for recovery this morning with early fears he'll miss at least 6 weeks. The 23-year-old injured his hamstring in last night's big win over Parramatta, just as he had started to fire at fullback.
That's a pretty serious hamstring if you're in that sort of pain and that sort of position.
We're just not sure the seriousness of it, whether it's, probably won't be anything under a month, but hopefully he'll be back in a month.
The Rabbitohs were in sensational form against the Eels, running in 38 points to nil to seal their 5th win in a row. Bad news for Para this afternoon. Dylan Brown needs ankle surgery and his season could be all but over. Sydney FC say Sunday night's grand final is just another game for a team expected to win everything in the A-League. The Premiers host Melbourne City at Bankwest Stadium.
It's same old Sydney. We're aware of the expectations that are placed on us at all times, and that's to win everything.
The Sky Blues can become the first club to win the championship 5 times. The start of the new Premier League season is in serious doubt after a spate of coronavirus cases among clubs. Manchester United star Paul Pogba has been forced into 2 weeks isolation just 16 days out from the season kickoff. 6 Chelsea players are reported to have tested positive, among several others around the league. Waratah's teammates say Michael Hooper's 6-month stint in Japan will only make him and the Tars better when the Wallabies captain returns midway through next year.
a new Michael Hooper would be an awesome thing to see. But yeah, look, really happy to see him go and, maybe look to learn a few more skills and develop his game.
To make the three-team Super Rugby finals, it's a must-win for the Tars against the Rebels at Leichhardt Oval tomorrow night. AFL Premiers Richmond are the flag favourites again. The Tigers ended West Coast's 8-game winning streak with a 27-point statement last night. Injury-plagued former Giant John Patton suffered yet another leg problem. Essendon overturned a 6-goal half-time deficit to beat Hawthorn by 16 points. Joe Danaher starred in his first game in 467 days, kicking 3 goals. The Aussie cricketers are playing their first practice match of the UK Tour tonight, where the bowlers are still trying to figure out how they'll shine the ball.
You can't use sweat around the face, the neck, the head, and you can't obviously use saliva.
But they are allowed to use body sweat. With qualification for the PGA Tour Championship on the line, it was far from easy on the opening day of the BMW Championship. Only 3 out of the field of 70 finished under par, with the Olympia Fields course described as tougher than any major of the past 15 years. Adam Scott is the best of the 4 Aussies at 2 over par, but he still managed a few highlights.
What a shot he played from there.
Cameron Champ showed his support for the Black Lives Matter movement with a bold fashion statement. And NBA players voted to end their boycott of the playoffs after protesting against police brutality. All 3 of today's games have been postponed, but they're expected to resume tomorrow. The players are calling for an end to systemic racism and inequality in society. And Sally, just in case you were wondering, back to our cricketers and the use of saliva and sweat, the preferred area is back sweat to shine the ball. So there you go. We'll see if that progresses overnight.
Well, it's a really disgusting fact. Thanks for that, Matt. That's incredibly helpful. Don't go anywhere. Our top stories are just ahead. Next, a truck driver brawls with a man in Macquarie Park. He says he tried to slash his throat. We have the shocking pictures as the police hunt for his attacker. A Sydney school teacher caught allegedly trying to meet a student for sex. Meet the unlikely hitchhiker picked up by travellers in Queensland. And Schoolies has been cancelled. See why after the break.
With this season on the line, they're running out of time. But can the Bulldogs survive against one of the Premiership favourites?
Oh, yes!
And in the heart of the nation, who will keep their finals hopes alive? Demons versus Saints will determine whose season stays in heaven.
That is a great match.
And whose goes to hell.
Starting to get interesting. It's building.
The Festival of Footy continues tonight on 7 Mate.
New season outdoor range now available at Domain. Live life outdoors. Style a retreat at home with the latest in wicker and gorgeous recycled teak. Create your own backyard oasis with slick lines and breezy rope detail. Choose the natural beauty of timber to laze away your weekend in comfort. And make the most of smaller spaces with our selection of balcony furniture. Plus, take advantage of 60 months interest free and receive a bonus gift card up to $500. New season outdoor now at Domain.
Oh, looks like strong back pain. Try Voltaren Rapid 25. It has a dual benefit that treats inflammation and relieves strong back pain. Try Voltaren Rapid 25. Voltaren, the joy of movement.
An order for Lego. Someone's in for some fun. Bet you love toys. You're childish.
No, I'm not.
Tonight, I'll be eating a chicken kebab with extra hot sauce.
For training purposes, you cannot beat a bowl cut.
What have you done? Thanks.
People are going to think we're sisters.
Today we'll be offering...
They're gone. What do you mean they're gone?
The snacks.
They're gone, missing.
Well, they have to be here somewhere.
They're not here.
They can't just get up and walk away.
All right, only 13 more hours to go.
New M&M's pretzel with pretzel inside.
When pain and fever symptoms strike, a kiss can make them feel better. But for effective relief through the night, there's Nurofen for children. Starts to reduce fever from 15 minutes, lasts for up to 8 hours, and is trusted by 9 out of 10 Australian parents.
start with pork mince, who knows where you'll end up? Get some pork on your fork.
Live from Sydney, 7 News with Sally Bowrey.
Welcome back to our Martin Place headquarters. These are our top stories on 7. A pregnant woman from New South Wales has lost her baby after she was unable to enter Queensland for emergency treatment. The CBD coronavirus cluster has surged yet again, growing by 6 as the state records another 13 cases. The Prime Minister has ramped up pressure on the states to reopen their borders before Christmas. And still to come, a shark charges towards a group of swimmers. Those on a nearby boat opened fire with a rifle. I'll show you what happened next. Well, there's been a violent end to a road rage incident at a service station at Macquarie Park. One man was threatened with a box cutter and says he could have been killed. Evan Batten reports.
Yeah, Sally, this really is yet more proof of just how violent road rage incidents can become, and quickly. This video that was shot by another witness at the service station here on Epping Road shows the final moments of what had been a very violent and threatening incident. The guy in the brown jacket, we're told, is the victim. The guy in the yellow high-vis had allegedly lunged at him with a box cutter, and that's when the guy in the orange high-vis jumper intervened to help break up the whole ordeal. The guy in the yellow high-vis then gets back in the truck and takes off. The 34-year-old cleaner in the brown jacket then called paramedics saying he was suffering neck and back pain. They treated him for minor injuries. A 34-year-old cleaner who was on his way to work. He's told 7 News that there was some sort of minor incident in the traffic just a little further up the road on Epping Road. The guy in the truck told him to pull over into the service station so they could sort it out, and that is when he told us that he was lunged at with the box cutter.
I'm sorry for him. If I don't stop him for his knife, maybe he kill me.
Now, Sally, we've provided a copy of that video that was shot by another witness to police. Very clear depiction there of the number plate and company logo on the truck, so no doubt they'll soon be talking with that driver to get his version of events. Sally?
A Melbourne man has been praised for rescuing his elderly neighbour as a tree crushed her home during the city's wild storm last night. Reporter Louisa Cheatley caught up with him a little earlier.
Good afternoon. It was just before 7 last night when a massive gum tree fell on 85-year-old Bev's house. She lives alone and has dementia. Her next-door neighbour, Joshua, ran to help. Joshua, talk us through what happened.
It was a pretty crazy night. About 7 o'clock, all the wind picked up out of nowhere, and there was a good 5-10 minutes of just vibrating and loud commotion and trees coming down everywhere. You honestly couldn't tell what was happening. As soon as we could, we've run outside and we've noticed that a tree had come straight through my neighbour's property. Luckily, I could hear that she was okay. I couldn't get into the property though, so I had to smash open the kitchen window. My roommate and myself sat with her for about 2 hours before we could get rescue to come and help us because we just couldn't get her out. It was absolutely crazy. You could see the house was just split in half. When I walked in, she was on the lower level. It was really scary walking through the property. Everything was kind of balancing on itself. I'm surprised it hasn't fallen down since then.
Describe what it sounded like and what it looked like in the middle of that storm last night.
Yeah, it was crazy. I first ran up to the top of the road and I took a little video, and it was just mayhem. There was trees coming down everywhere, wind coming from left and right. There was just nowhere that felt safe.
And how lucky is 85-year-old Bev to be alive? You went in there, the roof was quite close to her head.
Yeah, she was sitting on her couch and the roof would have been not even that far away from her head, just dangling there ready just to crush her essentially. So I can't even explain how lucky she is to still be here. Yeah, really happy she was okay when I went in there.
And very lucky to have you. Thank you so much, Josh.
Cheers, thank you.
Victoria's case numbers continue to drop, with the state recording 113 new cases of COVID-19 and a further 12 deaths today. All of those deaths are linked to aged care facilities. The state's chief health officer says nearly 1/3 of people in aged care who contracted COVID-19 have since died. The Premier signalled a slow easing of stage 4 restrictions from September 13, but hasn't yet laid out a detailed plan. After a challenging final year for our high school senior students, there's more bad news today. The traditional schoolies celebration on the Gold Coast has been cancelled due to COVID concerns. Kate Ryan has the details.
It's the news the class of 2020 has been dreading but expecting. Schoolies Week on the Gold Coast this year has been cancelled. Confirmation came through from the Premier's office this morning after 3 new cases of COVID were detected in Queensland, 2 on the Gold Coast. The cancellation means organised events like the iconic Surfers Paradise beach parties won't go ahead.
It is about the health of everyone. So I hope everyone accepts that difficult decision, but it is the right decision.
I'm really sorry that they won't be able to have the traditional schoolies celebration.
But it doesn't mean school leavers can't come to the Gold Coast. Accommodation will still be available, but gatherings of more than 10 people will be banned. Extra police will be on the streets enforcing social distancing rules and handing out on-the-spot fines to anybody doing the wrong thing.
If you have a mistake and just go, well, it's all about me, and you take the virus back into your home and infect your mum and dad and your grandparents, you will never forget this schoolie.
More than 20,000 students came to the coast to celebrate schoolies over 2 weeks last year. With school formals already cancelled in New South Wales, it's yet another blow for the country's Year 12s.
A trial date has been set down for embattled NRL player Jack de Belin as he attempts to fight a rape charge. The 29-year-old and his co-accused, Callan Sinclair, will face a jury on November 2 over claims they raped a 19-year-old in Wollongong in December 2018. Both have pleaded not guilty to 4 counts of aggravated sexual assault in company. The decision sours hopes of a return to the field for St George this season. A Sydney school teacher has been arrested after allegedly trying to groom a young girl for sex. Police say he thought he was chatting to a 13-year-old online, but the person writing back was in fact a detective. Tom Saker reports.
Well, Sally, teacher Alexander Simpson was arrested just outside Trinity Grammar yesterday as students watched on, where he had allegedly been grooming who he thought was a 13-year-old girl online. Detectives from the Child Abuse and Sex Crime Squad Child Exploitation Internet Unit say they engaged Mr Simpson on an online forum earlier this month, and they say he thought he was speaking to a 13-year-old girl. The Trinity teacher is accused of engaging in conversations about sexual acts and allegedly sent explicit photos while he was at work in his capacity as a teacher for independent school Trinity Grammar.
Very concerning from a policing point of view. There's significant charges. You know, a person in a position of trust, such as a teacher, and engaging in this type of activity is certainly of a significant nature, and they are very serious charges.
After the 39-year-old father's arrest yesterday, detectives searched his Padstow Heights home where they seized clothing and electronic devices. Police say COVID-19 has contributed to more online engagement, and they've encouraged parents to communicate with their kids about what they do online. Trinity said in a statement that it is cooperating with the police investigation and that none of its students were involved in the allegations. Simpson didn't apply for bail today and will remain in custody until at least the end of October. Sally.
Well, it doesn't have an opening date, but 7 News was given a preview today of Sydney's new $3 billion NorthConnex tunnel. As Peter Fegan reports, the builders are keen to assure drivers of its world-class safety features.
Yeah, that's right, Sal. I'm coming to you from deep under Sydney. I'm in the new NorthConnex tunnel, which connects the M1 to the M2. It not only bypassed 21 sets of traffic lights, but it also bypassed Pennant Hills Road. But more importantly, Sal, we've been able to see firsthand what will happen if there's an incident in the tunnel, how emergency services will respond. Considering that just this week there's been a fatality on the Harbour Bridge and a car fire in the Sydney Harbour Tunnel, it's a very important issue. Emergency Services Minister David Elliott was with us in the tunnel today, and he said that the emergency response crews working within this tunnel are world class.
I'm very confident that this is the next generation of road safety, and I'm delighted that we'll be able to see it in use very soon.
The tunnels are 9 kilometres long and, yes, they're deep underground, but you're not alone. There's 850 security cameras watching your every move. A radio station the drivers can tune into for updates on both traffic and safety. And if there is an incident, emergency services will be with you in a matter of minutes, regardless of where you are in the tunnel.
So not only have we got a dedicated traffic control team 24 hours a day
keeping an eye on the road. We also have incident response teams that are available at a moment's notice.
And Sal, I'll have more on this story from the NorthConnex tunnel tonight at 6, including an interview with one of those first responders that will be working in this very tunnel. Sal?
Thank you, Peter. A wallaby has taken a wild road trip through far north Queensland. The furry stowaway accidentally hitched a 200-kilometre ride in a four-wheel drive. Georgia Terry has the story.
This is one very lucky little marsupial. The wallaby was found hiding out in the engine bay of a four-wheel drive after being taken on a wild ride from Cape York to Cairns.
You could see a little wallaby stuck in between the radiator and the front bumper.
A couple who were making the trip south thought they'd hit and killed the wallaby, but somehow the little fighter found his way to safety.
God knows how. I'm still in shock as to how he's ended up in there. Yeah, so one of these stories that, it's 1 in a million.
The RSPCA was called to help pull the wallaby from the car, but he wasn't leaving without a struggle, comfortable in his hiding spot.
So we proceeded to remove the front bumper, and we ended up pulling the wallaby through the bottom of the car. He still had plenty of fight in him.
We've seen some pretty crazy things, but this is probably one of the weirdest. And obviously rescues and wallaby rescues, you just never know what you're going to get. So definitely interesting to see.
Amazingly, the wallaby only had a few scratches after a checkup. He was released in bushland yesterday afternoon. The RSPCA says he was happy and healthy when he was set free, ready to go back to the wild.
Buildings ripped apart and trucks thrown from the road. Next, Hurricane Laura leaves a trail of devastation in her wake as she tracks across the United States. Plus, get out of the water. A shark barrels towards swimmers before it's shot at by a man with a rifle. See what happens next. And it's 15 degrees at Terrigal. Brownie has the forecast soon.
Ever wished for a bit more space at your place?
Wowzers!
This is just fantastic.
The extra room that beats all the red tape, making a real difference to these guys. And the dogs with a very special mission, helping our favourite bear.
It's their superpower. Isn't that beautiful?
New Better Homes, tonight on 7.
Did someone say KFC?
I don't care. I love it.
Cookie people, cream people, crumbs people, clean people, twist people, lick people, dunk people, munch people. It's on the play, people. If you twist, lick, dunk, then you're my people. We are Oreo people.
A lot of people have sensitive teeth, but gum health is really important. The new Sensodyne Sensitivity and Gum toothpaste not only deals with sensitivity, it also maintains gum health. 2 benefits from 1 toothpaste. What a great idea.
Live brighter every day with up to 50% off everything at Beacon. You heard right, get up to 50% off lights, fans, globes, everything in-store and online. Shop now and save up to 50% off at Beacon.
When your throat is swollen or painful, standard lozenges may not be enough. Call on Strepsils Extra. Its advanced formula goes beyond our standard lozenges and numbs pain fast. Strepsils Extra for an extra sore throat.
These are Step 1 underwear. They have these lacquer panels between the legs, which means no more chafing. Go to step1.live and buy the best underwear in the world. No, really. Better than baguette, better than cheese.
That's a low price. Oh man, that's good.
Dad, you're off mute, mate.
Oh man, I was listening. You were talking about business.
Harvey Norman, your destination for outdoor living, with our new season range on outdoor furniture and barbecues. The latest trends in timber, stone, aluminium and wicker, lounges or dining. Find the perfect solution to complete your alfresco area. A versatile collection for the ultimate in choice. Plus, we've got all your barbecue needs covered. Wood-fire pizza ovens, smokers, charcoal and pellet grills, even outdoor kitchens you can design yourself. Plus, get 60 months interest-free and receive a bonus gift card up to $500. Now, at Harvey Norman.
Go!
When Dad says he doesn't want anything for Father's Day, he really means Ryobi. And with over 100 OnePlus tools in the range, finding him the right gift is easy. OnePlus U equals what Dad really wants. Gardening kits, $149 each, available at Bunnings Warehouse.
Check in with Seven's all-star cast.
It's been kind of a dream.
Any other dreams I can help you with?
The second best Marigold Hotel, tonight on 7.
You're a super team.
The Chasers never run from a super team.
Challenge accepted.
New The Chase, weekdays on 7.
A group of US Coast Guard officers have had the shock of their lives while taking a dip in the ocean off Hawaii. A spotter on the bridge of their ship saw a 2-metre shark heading directly for the swimmers and began firing shots into the water.
They're right there.
Get on board!
All crew members managed to get out of the water. They monitored the shark for a while to ensure it wasn't injured. You're watching 7's afternoon news live across Sydney. Still to come, minutes from takeoff, a dramatic incident. Officials in hazmat gear storm a plane as it sits on the tarmac. A passenger is escorted off. See why in just a few minutes. Neighbourhoods have been flattened and areas flooded as Hurricane Laura smashes into Louisiana as a Category 4 system. Several people have died. The storm is now weakening as it moves inland. Paul Caddick has more from the ground.
Good afternoon. Hurricane Laura has brought death and so much destruction to this part of Louisiana. For hours overnight, it blasted away with 200 km/h plus winds. Here in Lake Charles, this office tower had its windows smashed by the force of the storm, sending broken glass flying like shrapnel in what was a terrifying night for this community. Making landfall as a Category 4, Hurricane Laura unleashed her fury, bringing ferocious winds and torrential rain to Louisiana and Texas.
And look at that damage. That gazebo standing just a few minutes ago.
Lake Charles bore the brunt of the system, roofs ripped off and trees uprooted. The winds toppling this truck onto its side. The storm so fierce this meteorologist had to run for cover as glass from the building above came crashing down. Another close call in Texas when a transformer blew during a live broadcast.
Sabine River. Oh, that's not good.
With the dawn, a clearer understanding of just how much damage had been done, but a storm surge dubbed unsurvivable, not as severe as expected.
The good news is the storm surge appears to have been about half of what was forecasted, which is still very significant.
That surge still doing plenty of damage in the small coastal community of Cameron, where Laura came ashore in the middle of the night. Tragically, at least 4 people are reported to have lost their lives after trees crashed down on their homes. One of the victims, a 14-year-old girl. Now, Hurricane Laura has been getting weaker as it moves inland. It's now been downgraded to a tropical storm, but today forecasters warning it was still packing damaging winds, potentially flooding rain and possibly tornadoes. It will be impacting several other states in the coming days. Also today, President Donald Trump announced that he intends to visit some of the hardest hit areas this weekend. From Lake Charles, Louisiana, back to you.
Sydney 6 p.m. news is coming up with Michael Lusher. Hello to you, Michael. What are you working on in the newsroom?
Hi there, Sally. Here's what we have for you tonight. The latest on that terrible border situation following the death of an unborn child. We speak to the family. They are obviously devastated, but there's now fresh debate about a border exemption that may have allowed life-saving treatment in Queensland. More schools are closing across Sydney. There's been a spike in COVID cases with the CBD cluster growing. At 6, the health warning for our city with a warm weekend ahead. It's threatened with a box cutter. Police hunt the truck driver who fled the scene of an alleged road rage clash. Return and earn controversy. The government promised to turn recycling into charity donations, but has big business really become the winner? A rescue mission in shallow water. What sparked alarm on Sydney's northern beaches this morning? And how to pay your bills later without the late fees. The real story behind a new household finance trend. Sally? So we'll have that for you. Plenty more, of course, coming up in our 7 News at 6 o'clock.
Thanks for that, Michael. See you then. It's 4:48. Let's get a check on Sydney's traffic.
Good afternoon, it's Andrea Panamo here in the Tassal Salmon traffic chopper. In Darlinghurst, there's a breakdown in the Eastern Distributor heading northbound near William Street. And we're just hovering over the M5 in Moorebank. It's looking like a heavy run westbound. That's the cars on the right of screen heading to the bottom of the screen. Traffic is back into Milperra. Spag bowl night, stir fry for dinner. Switch it for salmon this week with fresh or smoked Tassal salmon. Tassal, it's Tasmanian for salmon.
Travellers on a jet about to take off from Britain have had a stark reminder about the dangers of coronavirus. A team in hazmat suits suddenly boarded the plane after a passenger revealed he'd just been informed he was positive to COVID-19. Hugh Whitfield has more.
Parts of Europe are seeing a spike in COVID cases as governments try to avoid a second round of national lockdowns. On a flight from London to Italy, a passenger was removed by officials in hazmat suits. He received a text message after boarding saying he had tested positive and was promptly taken off the plane. People here have been allowed to enjoy summer, but travel restrictions are returning, with many countries placing restrictions on travellers from hotspots, including Spain, which is now surpassing the US for daily positive cases per capita. Hospitalisations are increasing too. In France, masks are now compulsory everywhere in Paris. The French Prime Minister saying they're trying to avoid another big lockdown. The UK today recorded its highest number of daily infections in 2.5 months. Experts at the European Centre for Disease Control believe numbers will continue to rise across Europe, but any possible second wave won't be as bad as the first.
Thank you, Hugh. Next in 7's Afternoon News, David Brown is here with your latest forecast.
This is one of the nation's most infamous unsolved cases. When Donald Mackay vanished, it revealed the mafia's grip reached all the way here to Australia.
The police turned a blind eye.
So unbelievable it could be something out of The Godfather.
It was extraordinary.
The trail of evidence clearly points to murder.
We don't have a body, so we can't prove death.
Full of corruption right to the highest level.
Somebody related to the accused was on the jury.
Now we will shed new light on this extraordinary case.
Crime Investigation Australia, Sunday 8:30 on 7. Take your dad to the next level with great gift ideas for Father's Day at Super Cheap Auto.
How well your kitchen performs depends what's under the hood. Unlike range hoods with mesh filters, Whisper's S-Flow baffle filtration system means grease doesn't clog, maximising extraction, minimising noise. Proudly Australian Whisper, available in-store and online.
Right now, the comfort of our home has never been more important. So it's good to know that at Fantastic Furniture, you can shop our entire range in-store or online, now with contactless delivery and click and collect services. Find your Fantastic today.
With Belong, you get 10 gigs of mobile data for $25 a month. That's 10 gigs of family time, plus unlimited international calls and texts to selected countries for $5 extra. Together, we're different. Belong.
The 100% Aussie beef in Macca's Burgers comes from farms like David's in Queensland.
My family supplies 100% Aussie beef to McDonald's.
Thanks, David. Get into Macca's for hot, juicy, tasty burgers today.
Whatever plans you had for your future, they're still waiting for you. Because if you're with Host Plus, you're with one of Australia's top performing super funds over the long term. Host Plus, we go with you.
Hey, Ma, Father's Day's coming up. What are you going to get him?
A trip to Mars.
One way.
Mom.
Well, I have something better. Step 1 underwear. They make them in my size now to match with Dad's. Father and son matching underwear? Wow. Get them at step1.life. Matchy, matchy.
At HCF, Australia's largest not-for-profit health fund, we know the importance of care when it counts. That's why eligible members can access our holistic mental wellbeing program with the flexibility to choose what works for you. HCF, that's uncommon care.
When Dad says he doesn't want anything for Father's Day, he really means Ryobi. And with over 100 OnePlus tools in the range, finding him the right gift is easy. OnePlus U equals what Dad really wants. Gift ideas under $100 each, available at Bunnings Warehouse.
What scares a chaser?
This is a perfect combo. Different genders, different generations.
You're a super team.
Question after question.
Correct. What teamwork?
Lucky our chasers never run from a super team.
Challenge accepted.
New The Chase, weekdays on 7.
Extending the dreaded due date to pay your bills. How $6 is buying you 4 months extra time on 7 News, 6 o'clock.
Among the horrors that have faced those in the US Gulf over the past 24 hours, there's been a moment of light-hearted joy. A woman's been filmed taking her llama for a stroll down the street in Texas, as you do. Now, she says she was air drying the animal after Hurricane Laura drenched the area with heavy rain. Brownie's got a few comments about this one, no doubt.
Only in America, isn't it, Sally?
I know, you got to love that, though. No rain for us, though, so our llamas are staying nice and dry at the moment.
So are the sheep as well, Sally.
True, unfortunately.
Good afternoon to you. Look, clear conditions across our city today. We are expecting warmer weather tomorrow, but smoke haze is expected to build up in our west. Yes, our friends at the RFS are undertaking further hazard reduction burns right across the weekend. Now, today's maximum 19.7 degrees by early afternoon. Statewide at the moment, we've got clear skies, 8 degrees in Orange, a little bit warmer in Tamworth. In fact, it's a lot warmer, 19 degrees. To the south in the ACT, Canberra, 12 degrees. Latest satellite data, well, highlights this massive high. It's slow moving. It's producing clear conditions. Little change is expected in the overall pattern tomorrow, although we should see the main centre of this pop off into the Tasman Sea. In response to that, there's gentle northerly airstream building across our neck of the woods, so the temperatures will gradually rise a little. Interstate tomorrow for Melbourne, it's warming up under a northerly around 20 degrees. For Brisbane, clear skies, 23 degrees, warmer through the north. For our city, lots of sunshine tomorrow, 21 degrees. Smoke haze mainly in our west from around about early afternoon into the evening. As we move on to the next 7 days, smoke haze again is expected during Sunday afternoon, but it will be a slightly warmer day, around 26 degrees in our west. Weak cool change coming through on Monday, then it warms up for the first week of spring. That's latest weather from the Weather Centre. More at 6, Sally.
All right, thanks for that, Brownie. And that's Sydney's 4 p.m. news for this Friday. Michael Usher will bring you 7 News at 6. I'm Sally Barry. Stay with 7 Now for the Chase Australia, and I'll see you tomorrow on Weekend Sunrise. Hope you have a great night.
There is a story behind every dish. Its origin, its heritage, its culture.
As an Australian, the things we love about food is the joy it brings and the way it binds communities and families together.
I really want to do my country proud.
I love it. Dead set better than I've ever had in my life.
Food can be an emotional experience, and your main course was very emotional for me. It's not just a cooking competition, it's a celebration of Australia and why we live in this beautiful country. Passion isn't everything, but food is nothing without it.
Australia, expect joy, expect pride in who you are and how you cook, and expect food that you'll want to cook at home.
Let the flames begin!
Plate of Origin.
Over 3 epic weeks. Starts Sunday at 7 on 7.